In today's video, we're going to be starting a brand new series that I like to call Don't Suck. How Not to Suck. There we go. How Not to Suck. You can pretty much guess what it's going to be about just from hearing the name. What I'm going to be doing in this series is going through random games and different things like that and teaching you guys different ways to be good at those games and how to not suck. We're going to start off with Fortnite pretty obviously because it's such a popular game at this current point in time. However, since the way that Fortnite is, it is a very evolutionary game, and it changes based on updates that are constantly going on and the different playstyle of various people. If you watch this video within several months of it being posted, probably chances are it's not going to be 100% accurate anymore with the different tips and strategies that I am giving you in this video. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy, and make sure to smash the like button and comment down below what game you want me to do next in this series of Try Not to Suck. Alright, so for today's Try Not to Suck video, we are going to be doing Fortnite, very obviously, popular game at the current point in time, and it'll probably get me views and more subscribers, and who doesn't like that? So to kick it off, we're going to start off by going throughout the locker and looking at various items. Most people believe that the cosmetic items you choose do not affect the gameplay at all. However, this is not entirely true. However, it is the true fact that it doesn't give you any competitive advantage like in Rainbow Six Siege, where the different operators and different outfits you choose will change what ability you are able to use. In Fortnite, this is not the case. However, depending on what outfit you use, it'll be more or less obvious where you are at any given point in time. For example, the glider I'm using currently is called forget what it's called, but it's the glider for Oblivion, and it leaves very large red beams as trails in the background. This is going to alert other players to your position more so than, say, the Victory glider. Although the Victory glider for this season is bright blue and is very easy to spot, if you choose a glider like Crossfire, which has no type of trail attached to it and it's just solid, just one glider, there's nothing attached to it, it'll be much easier to sneak around using that glider. However, you will still be able to hear people gliding. You can't really change that unless they turn their game sounds off, and I don't know why you would do that in a game like this. Another one, not contrails. Contrails aren't very important to this game mode. They don't really change all that much unless you're using a very, 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 very obvious contrail, like the shooting star contrail from Season 4, that is literally a star flying through the sky. In that case, there is a high probability that somebody will be able to spot you from a fairly good distance away if their render distance is set high enough. Alright, moving on to the next thing. The different play styles that you have in Fortnite. There are several different ones. You can have very competitive play styles where it's rush every single person you see all the time. And then you have just some kind of chill gameplay where it's just, going around and just kind of chill gameplay. Usually the more aggressive play styles will win solely because if you are playing aggressive, chances are you know what you're doing. However, this is not always the case, as you can see there. And we're going to go ahead and finish that guy just because. So yeah, as you can tell, there are very different play styles, and some of them are typically work better for others. But for the most part, it's really a personal preference. However you want to play, you can either play extremely aggressively or you can play more conservative, try to hide on the edge of the zone and stay away from people until it gets to the last few where you have a higher chance of winning. However, this does come with significant risk because most of the time the players that are in the end of the game are typically better at the game than the rest of the players that die off at the beginning. So you've got two options. You can either play really aggressively and possibly win with a large number of kills, or you can play very conservatively and probably place higher. However, you will run into people who are better at the game, probably, unless you're just an absolute legend, in which case you're probably going to play more aggressively so you can get those kills, because chances are if you're playing aggressively, you're some kind of streamer and no one's going to want to watch you hang at the edge of the zone for the entire game that lasts from 15 to 30 minutes long. So next thing we're going to talk about for how not to suck in Fortnite is rotations. The rotations are fairly simple to understand. I will try to explain it as best I can for the players out there who don't really know what a rotation is. So basically, you have the stone. I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. The zone. You have the zone. The zone is a circle, as you can see right here. The zone is a circle. A rotation is literally what it says. It's a rotation. So instead of going directly into the zone, you go around at an angle. This can throw off enemies, and they may not know that you've gone somewhere, and you can escape from them, or you can just hide from them and sneak up on them from behind, whatever your goal is to do in any particular circumstance. If you are very good at the game, you may just try to sneak up from them behind, and then you can get an easy kill or a couple of kills depending on what game mode you're playing. Next is very, very, very important to learn is auditory cues. This sounds like something out of Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's because it is. What an audio cue is a sound inside of the game that tells you a certain thing is happening. For instance, the noise a chest makes. You can hear it. They have been buffing constantly the sounds to make it easier to hear exactly which direction a noise is coming from, which makes it a lot easier to tell if an enemy is above, below, or to the side of you, and the same with chests. If your game sounds are too low, you won't hear anything, and you can get you can get snuck up behind pretty easily by enemies because you won't be able to hear them. So next is obviously going to be resource farming. You want to make sure you have a good balance between wood, brick, and metal. Wood is fastest to be placed down fully, but it is also easiest to break, and going up, it is then brick and metal accordingly. You have 4 different types of builds you can place down. You have walls, floors, ramps, and pyramids. These can all be manipulated by editing them to be placed in a certain way that can be useful for different edits later on in the game. If you are going up against players who have been playing for a long time, they may have set up special hotkeys, which is the next thing we're going to be talking about. For those of you who are video game noobs and do not know what a hotkey is, it is in essence a key that you set to whatever you want to. In case you didn't realize, all of the default controls for a certain game can be changed and programmed to whatever you like the best. A lot of people change these because the default settings are uncomfortable for them and are only comfortable for a very certain type of player. As you can tell, I have my own keybinds. I have C set to my pickaxe, X to my secondary slot, which is usually my pickaxe in a regular game. You don't have an inventory full of shotguns, but so on and so forth. You can program everything in this game pretty much. I don't know of anything you can't program. It's a really customizable game in the sense of controls, which is really nice. So here's an example of rotating. You can see the storm is wider over here. That means this side's going to be traveling faster. This side's going to be traveling slower because it has less of a distance to travel to get to the main area. That is part of the storm. About the storm. The storm will travel in more or less a pattern. If the zone is smaller on this side, chances are it's also going to be smaller on this side. Again, it travels much like a real storm in that sense. See there, auditory cues, you can hear a chest and you can break through the wall and just grab it real quick. And in this case, there wasn't too much stuff that I needed. And of course, this game obviously has several aspects that are completely player preference. For example, what type of items you pick up, what weapons you like more than the other ones. And if somebody tells you that a certain weapon is bad, just they're stupid, because bad and good are points of view. I think they may have changed this game mode to be duos, because no, it's definitely still squads. Like I was saying before, certain things are preference. That includes keybinds. Whatever is more comfortable for you may not be what is comfortable for somebody else. For example, I know 0 people who have a similar keybind setup to me, except the edit button. The edit button is one of the ones that I will not budge my opinion on. The edit button has to be something that is extremely easy to press, and you can press it very, very quickly. Because when you get up into the higher games, if you're doing arena or something else like that, you want to be able to edit very, very quickly in order to get out if you're being trapped in by the zone, or if you're trying to pull off a sick edit move and trying to kill somebody with a trap or something like that. You want to be able to edit walls and such very, very quickly. Now we have some enemies over here. I'm trying not to be noticed. However, I do happen to know that there is a thing for dancing inside of there. I'm going to swap these out because I just personally like the other one more than the other one. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. Moving on, we have the slipstreams. These were added in Season 9 and are a recent addition. One thing to keep in mind, they are very useful for getting around quickly. But in the later zones, I believe after the 5th zone closes in, the slipstreams become disabled because people were getting flung into the zone late in game and getting upset because it was a dumb way to die, which it is, but nevertheless, the slipstreams do get disabled. So you want to keep a watch out for that and make sure you're not caught in or caught on top of one of the floating fortress sky-based type island things after the zone closes, unless you're in a game mode like Close Encounters where you have a jetpack. But in a regular game mode where you don't have a jetpack, because the jetpacks are removed for very good reasons, you won't be able to fly down. So unless you have a rift to go or glider redeploy or something of the sort, you will most certainly die and not be able to survive. And that is not the goal of trying not to suck. The goal of trying not to suck is to not suck. Moving on, we're going to go to a very unpopular thing. This is called sky basing. As you can tell what I'm doing right now. Basically just building up really, 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 really high in the air. It works really well for games like Close Encounters, which is what I'm doing right now, because the only weapon people have are shotguns, so they can't shoot you out from a really far distance. They have to get close to you, break it with a pickaxe, or with the introduction of the combat shotgun in Season 9, it is possible for them to shoot you out from far distance. It just takes several shots. Now the only problem here is you can tell I'm running low on materials because I didn't break enough brick and metal. However, I have plenty of wood. I should be able to get to the max build height pretty quickly here. Hopefully, if I don't get to the max build height pretty quickly, I may. Yep, there you go. That's max build height. Then you come around here. The thing about the zone that you need to be aware of, the smaller the zone gets, the stronger the zone gets, aka the more damage it does to the players in the game. So you definitely don't want to get caught in the zone when it's a very small, because it'll do massive amounts of damage and chances are you will die. As you can see, nobody else is doing this strategy for the time being. However, there is still a slipstream active. If people want to, they could try to get up here. I don't know why they would want to get up here, but it is an option that they have. Another thing for Fortnite, building is one of the main things in Fortnite. That is what makes Fortnite unique from games like PUBG or H1Z1, is the building aspect, where you can build with materials, massive fortresses, and 1x1s and things like that. However, building is not the most important thing in the game. That's right, you heard me correctly. Building is not the most important thing. How fast you can build and how fast you can edit will not necessarily match up to somebody's aim. If you have very good aim and you can nail headshots one after the other, or if you can just hit more shots than the other person, you will kill them, and there's nothing they can do about that. Now, building is a very important aspect and it's important to practice and learn. However, what you don't want to do is play the creative game mode in Fortnite so much that you are not used to playing against regular players, and then you become unfortunately bad at the game because you did not know the different types of strategies that are out there. You see over there, that is a 1x1. There's one type of game mode that exists, and here we have players trying to glide over to me, but they are unsuccessful in doing so. And see, I can hit them from very far away. Minor amounts of damage, yes, but I can still hit them from this far away. Now, when the zone gets small enough, it will constantly move, and it will not stop moving, which is one thing about this game that is very interesting. Now, at this point in time, it is going to be nearly impossible for me to be built upon because I currently have the high ground, and I will only lose the high ground if somebody builds up to me because one more above and it is max build height. Another thing to keep in mind, not very essential to the game, but if you look at the kill or the player count left, this is 7. That number includes myself, so it only means there are 6 players left, not 7. So if you're looking for an extra squad person, just keep in mind that you may not be counting entirely accurately. Yeah, that about does it. If I think of anything, I will put it into a part 2 for the Try Not to Suck Fortnite episode. And if you guys want to see more things like this on the channel, go ahead and smash the like button down below, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can see the next one right as it comes out, and comment down below what game you want me to do one of these on next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.